Wonders of the First is a new CCG that you may have seen ads for over on Instagram or other social media networks. It was fully funded on Kickstarter this year and is making its way to consumers everywhere. But what is Wonders of the First? And will it replace Magic the Gathering? And other TCGs for that matter? Well, before we begin, let's get into the hardcore details to define what a CCG is versus a TCG and how this game plays. A CCG is a collectible card game, whereas a TCG is a trading card game. Both are very similar and play very similarly. The Wonders of the First team has chosen to make the game an incredible collectible item by only printing a finite amount of each card that they make. This contrasts with Magic, where there are an abundant amount of reprints for every card. I think the creators of Wonders of the First saw Wizards of the Coast blunder with the Magic 30 reprints on the reserved list. This was just a huge outrage for players across the globe after many promises not to do that. It just lowers the value of these collectible cards and taints the reputation of the parent company. According to Wonders of the First website, it has promised to not reprint any card once its print window closes. This extends not only to avoiding reprints, but functional reprints as well, except in cases where serialized alternate art versions are issued in limited quantities of 1,000 cards or fewer. This is an extremely important thing for a ton of Magic the Gathering players that we just haven't been seeing recently, which keeps the game collectible. Keeping all these cards 1,000 or less for special versions just makes it even more collectible, and it's just a fun way to keep the game a little bit fresh and still kind of getting reprints. I keep describing Wonders of the First to people as a mixture of Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, and Villainous. It adapts a lot of Magic and Hearthstone mechanics into the gameplay, and it moves between realms and has a similar strategy like Villainous does. There are 7 rounds, and that's it. You can only play cards in Realm 1 on turn 1, and then on turn 2 you can play cards in Realms 1 and 2, and then in Realms 1, 2, and 3 on turn 3, and all the way you go to 7. Energy is the mana or resource of this game. So on turn 1 you gain 1 energy, turn 2 you gain 2 energy, etc. Just like Hearthstone. There are of course more ways to gain more energy, and that kind of goes into the strategy of the game. Each round you gain 3 actions for the turn. You can draw a card, play a card, attack, activate an ability, and pass. This is also similar to the Villainous gameplay, but you can pick and choose kind of what you want to do, and you're not locked into certain actions like the Villainous board kind of does. But it's kind of like that, where you've got a certain amount of things you can do. There are so many similarities to all these games that you'll just have to play the game to find them, but I will say it's really easy to learn this game if you're coming in from one of those other games. In order to win the game, a player has to be the first to collect the highest amount of stones. Each realm has a stone, meaning there are 7 stones total. At the end of the match, the player with the most stones wins. The first game my wife and I played took about an hour and a half while we kind of learned the rules, timings, and so forth. The second game we played took about half that, and the third game took probably 10 minutes less than that. I like that this game is short enough to play on a break, but strategic enough that you have to really think about your choices from turn 1. Wonders is also pretty well mix and match from what I can tell. There are multiple orbitals, or planes like in Magic if you will, to choose from, which is kind of like the colors of your deck. This can make decks go faster or slower depending on how you build, of course, and it's just kind of a fun way to keep things interesting, and you can mix and match. It's got that trading card aspect to it. Now, to speed things up in general, we used spin down d20s to keep track of the number of actions and energies we had. That way we didn't have to think about it every time we did something, and so there's kind of a tip if you want to speed things up and so you can keep track of where you're at. Well, now that we've established very quickly what the game is, can it overtake Magic? Well, I think that Wonders of the First feels really fresh with what it does and how it plays. I really like how it combines aspects from a few other games to make something really cool, while not feeling really stale. A game of Commander can take like 2 or 3 or 4 hours to finish sometimes. Hearthstone is a bit quicker, but it kind of plays similar in every game from what I remember from when I played. It's kind of like Magic's standard in Blizzard world, if that makes sense. And Villainous is so unbalanced that just one of the characters can take like 20 minutes to win, but then the others take like 2 hours to win, because that's a horribly balanced game. But I like that Wonders has the end in sight from turn 1, and you can really take hold of the game and finish quickly to be able to play a couple more games. But like I said, there are so many cool aspects of it and strategy that you really have to think about every single turn. There are so many things that make this game great. I think it's a breath of fresh air to have a finite amount of turns so you're not stuck into a never-ending game. The gameplay strategy behind that is incredible, and the game can change so fast it's kind of hard to tell who's in the lead sometimes, and all of a sudden you've got 4 stones where last turn you had 1, and then it's got your opponent on their toes. It's just really cool. Combining this fantastic gameplay and the no reprints and fun mechanics and the lore, etc., I still think that Magic is going to stay on top. I don't know that Wonders can overtake Magic. There are just too many differences between them to really say Wonders could take the cake. And I kind of see Wonders of the First as playing more like a board game than a trading card game. Sure, there are those aspects to it, and you can make your own decks and with the cards you want, and you can pick up new ones and combine your deck together to do whatever you want. But to me, it felt like more of a deck building game than an actual TCG. Somewhat similar almost to Seven Wonders, another Wonders game. It just reminded me of that somehow. It doesn't really play anything like it, but it reminded me of that where you're kind of building your army through a finite amount of turns. And that's going to turn people off from the game, to be perfectly honest. But I say you should give it a chance anyway, though, because like I said, it's a combination of Magic and some sort of deck building card game. But because of that aspect of it and the limited print runs, this game might be capped at a certain point. I mean, if they keep printing new sets and keeping it kind of cool and fresh, maybe adding new orbitals, I think this would be really, really cool. And I think it could keep the game alive for a while. But to be fair, Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Are all 30 years old by now, so it's really hard to topple these kings. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you like the aspects of the game that I talked about? Would you like to see some gameplay of it on the channel? I freaking love this game, and I don't want to be harsh about it, and I think you should give it a try. Don't take my criticism of it a little bit at the end there as anything, because I really do like this game. It's in beta right now, so it really feels like it's in beta, but once they start getting the funds coming in and little nitty-gritty details dialed in, I think this game could be really, really cool going forward. So make sure you check out Wonders of the First on their website, and make sure you visit the TCGplayer affiliate link below if you're going to be stuck on Magic for a while. And make sure you click that Milkman proxy link as well to grab a playmat for this new game, or you can visit their website for the specific Wonders of the First playmats. Now make sure you join me next week for your weekly dose of Wonder.